Apollo, known to the Romans by the same name as in Greek mythology, was one of the most revered gods of the ancient world. Unlike many other Greek deities who were given Latinized names, Apollo was so influential that the Romans adopted him without alteration. He was the god of the sun, prophecy, music, poetry, healing, archery, and plague, a deity whose presence touched nearly every aspect of life. Apollo's origins trace back to the union of Jupiter and the Titaness Latona. His birth was marked by hardship, as Juno, furious over Jupiter's infidelity, forbade Latona from giving birth on solid ground. At last, she found refuge on the floating island of Delos, where she gave birth to twins, Apollo and Diana. From the very beginning, Apollo's power was evident. As a newborn, he was already a force to be reckoned with, and he soon set out to establish his dominion. One of his most famous deeds was the slaying of the serpent Python. This monstrous creature guarded the sacred site of Delphi, and its presence tainted the land with chaos and corruption. Apollo, still young but already a formidable warrior, confronted Python with his golden bow and arrows, striking it down and claiming Delphi as his own. In doing so, he established the Oracle of Delphi, where his priestess, the Pythia, would speak his divine prophecies. For centuries, rulers and commoners alike sought Apollo's guidance, shaping the course of history through his oracles. But Apollo was not merely a god of knowledge. He was also the patron of music and the arts. He was often depicted with a lyre, a gift from Mercury, and his influence inspired poets, musicians, and philosophers alike. He presided over the muses and symbolized the harmony between intellect and creativity. Roman poets such as Ovid and Virgil invoked Apollo in their works, celebrating him as a guiding force in literature and culture. Yet, despite his many talents and divine beauty, Apollo's personal life was filled with tragedy. Time and again, he pursued love, only to be met with rejection or sorrow. One of his most well-known stories is that of Daphne, a nymph who caught Apollo's eye. Struck by love, he pursued her relentlessly, but she wanted nothing to do with him. Desperate to escape, she called upon her father, a river god, who transformed her into a laurel tree. Heartbroken, Apollo declared the laurel sacred, and ever since, it became a symbol of victory and poetic achievement. Another tale of loss is that of Hyacinthus, a mortal youth whom Apollo loved deeply. While playing a game of discus, Apollo accidentally struck Hyacinthus, fatally wounding him. Devastated, he refused to let his beloved be forgotten and transformed him into the hyacinth flower, ensuring his name would live on. These stories reveal a different side of Apollo, not just the powerful god of light and prophecy, but a figure who knew longing, heartbreak, and the limits of even divine power. Apollo's influence extended beyond personal myths. He was also a god of healing, worshipped across the Roman world for his ability to cure disease. Yet, he was equally feared, for he could bring plague as swiftly as he could remove it. This dual nature, both healer and destroyer, made him one of the most complex and respected deities. The Romans honored Apollo through grand temples and festivals, the most famous being the Ludi Apollinaries, games held in his name that featured theater and athletic contests. His role as a protector of Rome became especially prominent under Emperor Augustus, who saw Apollo as his divine patron. Augustus credited Apollo with his victory at the Battle of Actium and built a grand temple to him on the Palatine Hill, solidifying the god's place in Roman state religion. Apollo was more than just a god. He was a symbol of civilization itself, of reason, beauty, knowledge, and power. He inspired poets and rulers alike, guided the fate of empires, and remains one of the most enduring figures of mythology. His legacy, whether in Greek or Roman tradition, continues to shine as brightly as the sun he was so often associated with.